Sharam Hribi Nirantaram Bhasati Swayam Likyate Katham Hridaya Kuhara Madhye Kevalam Namatram Niti Sakshat Atmarupena Bhati Hridi Vishamanasa Swam Chinvata Majjata Chalanarudha Atmanishto Bhaktum Deham Mrinmayavat Jadatmakam Aham Buddharna Tasyastyata Aham Tattata Bhava Shukti Samaye Siddhatma Siddha Koham Bhavayuta Kuto Varatiya Drishtatmanishtatmana Soham Spurtitaya Arunachala Shivaha Purno Vibhati Swayam Soham Spurtitaya Arunachala Shivaha Purno Vibhati Swayam. Namo Ramana. In this, the Thursday Satsang from Ramanacentre Center for Learning, it has been our practice to take up two verses from the work Guruvachaka Kovai. The work is by Muruganar Swamigal. The random selection of verses is by Revatima. Each verse is read and each verse reading is followed by a short meditation on its meaning. That is followed by the practice of self-enquiry for about 15 minutes. After these two segments of verse reading, meditation on meaning, and the practice of Atma Vicharam are completed, there will be summing up remarks by Venkatesh Deshpandeji, and that will be followed by the offering of the Sri Ramana Stotram. The chanting will be online by Vaibhavji and Prarthnama, and the rest of us will continue to do self-enquiry by enquiring who is the listener. We begin by taking up the first verse selected for us, verse number 541 of Guruvachaka Kovai. Just as feeble-minded people, in their empty imaginings, perceive indivisible space as possessing numerous different subdivisions. Similarly, the perception that perceives the one indivisible self as multiple and classifies it with words is simply a consequence of the wondrous sport of Maya. Just as the feeble minded people in their empty imaginings perceive indivisible space as possessing numerous subdivisions, similarly, the perception which perceives the one indivisible self as multiple and classifies it with words is simply a consequence of the wondrous sport of Maya. Both the objective space and subjective space are covered in this verse. Because of lack of enquiry only, we feel that the objective space is really divided into many things. The many things which we see cannot actually divide space because they all rely on space itself for their very existence. Space is there before they appear, space is there in the middle, space is there at the end. So it is literally all space only. That is why they have this sky meditation to clear up the mind. One of the simple meditations that is offered is just look up at the sky. Then the divisions that are obvious to the eyes, they go away. Similarly, the treating of the one undivided self in the subjective space as though there are many selves is also due to Maya. That there is the subject object division itself is Maya. That there are many selves is also Maya. In self-enquiry, even by the very simple logic of it, we can understand that in the pure eye, there is no subject-object division. Pure eye, we can, in practice of Atmocharam, in stilling of the eye, we clearly understand by the very practice. And who is having all these worries? If we ask her, then who am I? Then a worried self and a self-attentive self, there are no two selves. Outward turned self, which imagines many divisions in the space, and an inward turned self, which goes beyond the space divisions and the self divisions. Are there two selves like this? Is the primary question Bhagavan asks of us all the time. There is only this question. Are there two selves? One outward turned and another inward turned. Where can we inquire this? In the outward turned self, all the problems, all the divisions of space, all the divisions of self seem to appear. So where can we inquire? Are there these two, outward turned self and inward turned self? Only in the self itself. By turning it inward, for whom is this doubt whether there are two selves? One outward turned and caught up in so many divisions, and one inward turned and stilling itself. For whom is this thought? Who am I? The still I alone is there. So the inside outside also vanishes even in Abhyasa Kala. We are only purifying the eye with effort, with bhavabala. We may still have so many units of vasanas to be worked out, but still doesn't matter. Bhagavan says this is bhakti uttama. Veda bhavana sohamityaso bhavana bida pavani mata. Bhavashunya sadbhava sustitihi bhavana bala bhakti uttama. With the bhava bala only, with the effort only. Effort indicates vasana. That we have to put effort to hold the eye indicates there is vasana. Let there be. We have come to that sadhana beyond which there cannot be any other sadhana. Stilling the eye, there cannot be any further sadhana because there is no sadhaka now. The sadhaka who was thinking there are so many types of sadhanas to do, that sadhaka himself is still with the bhava bala. This is bhakti ruttama. Out of all the bhakti, this is ananya bhakti or sareshta bhakti. That is more than enough for us. The vasanas are bound to vanish, and effortless self-abundance is the reality. It's not something gained. If the pure I is already present in all of us, we read some godmen say that all religions are work of devil. Only I am the pure God man. I have come directly from God and I am speaking to you. Inside him also there is this pure I. So the pure I cannot leave anybody out. That is why it is the supreme self. So it is the pure I that we are holding with bhava bala, and that itself, the pure I itself, will clear all our vasanas. Our very sadhana of turning inward is because it is present. Our erasing of vasanas is also because it is ever shining. And our abiding in the self is also because self is the undivided self-luminous self. And that's what we are going to hold in Atma Vicharam for the next 15 minutes. We will request Ujjwal ji to set the time for us. Namo Ramana.
Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya.
Namo Ramana. We continue the satsang by taking up the second verse selected for us, verse number 708. Verse number 708. Until the objects perceived are annihilated in the agent of perception, and until you know clearly, without a shadow of doubt, the solid truth of the self, what is the use of repeatedly exclaiming verbally, I am God, to no good purpose? Until the objects perceived are annihilated in the agent of perception, and until you know clearly, without a shadow of doubt, the solid truth of the self, what is the use of repeatedly exclaiming verbally, I am God, to no good purpose? This Aham Brahmasmi, or even the Dhyana Lakshyam, keeping God as a Lakshyam and merely repeating it, let's keep it as a thought and put it aside for the moment and see the first part. Until all the objects perceived are annihilated in the agent. It's not that they are changed into some other form and kept pending to be brought out. They are all annihilated. This annihilation sounds today somewhat negative, but then actually the annihilation has to be automatic. Once we think of the family, that you are the individual, has to go, isn't it, in that oneness? The 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 or 40 become one. So, becoming or realizing the oneness is the automatic annihilation, automatic killing, automatic murder of all the negativity of separateness. That we are all individuals in this journey, carrying each of us our own burdens, is a falsity, and that falsity has to be annihilated. So the all the objects perceived, whatever you may perceive, you have to ask, for whom is this object perceived? Then those objects are all unified in the oneness of the self. There are not many objects there. Instead of doing this actual practice of whenever you see an object, you ask, for whom? Who am I? In the pure eye, all the objects are contained. We were saying that the pure eye is present in all, even in the one who is saying all religions are handiwork of the devil and I am alone the God man, I have directly talked to God. Within him also the pure eye is available, we said. But then, how do we, when we realize that pure eye, then this feeling that there was this person who talked dead against all religions and that they are all work of devil, that there is devil, there is God in the objective space, they are all annihilated in the pure eye because there is only one pure eye. As we hold the pure eye, this thought that this pure eye is present within all, even within the one who says that all religions are the work of devil and I alone and God man. These are two objects. That is, devil and God are two objects. We have to ask, for whom is this thought? And in that self, both devil, objective devil, and objective God are consumed in the self. There is only the pure eye. Until this is done, where is the point in separating that I am not that devil, I am this God? By saying that, by exclaiming that, I am a good person, I am this God, what is the use, says Bhagwan. And this is the most practical way to come to the Supreme Being, to come to the truth of God also, that God is really not divided as God and devil, as good and evil. There is only the self of all. In the pure eye, there is no division. There is no subject object division. And further, the object division divided into good and bad or God and evil is not there. There is only the pure I, self of all. When this is the direct path to come to the Supreme Being, the reality of God, which is undivided, the undivided self, the pure I. Instead of that, why merely say, I am God, is the verse here. But as we do the self-enquiry and come to the oneness of the self, we understand how the dhyana path has been kept. The dhyana path of meditating on Bhagavan Ramana, which we simultaneously do along with Atma Ucharam, what it actually means, we are able to see the depth of that. That when we hold Bhagavan tentatively and not Ajadharaya Srotasa Samam, then we are not really devotees of Bhagavan continuously. We have the identity, sometimes we lose it, but while talking, we'll talk as though we are the devotees all the time. What is the purpose of dhyana? A friend and I, we were talking a few days back, a call from Bangalore, and there was this feeling that there was a video shown by Dattatreya Swami, and because of that video, the friend had started applying to various things, and now he's meeting with relative success, that the applications are being, after so many years, 20, 30 years of not being so successful, now the applications are meeting with success. So he was asking me, does this not indicate that we have to do karma, that we have to do our work? I said, where did you lose Dattatreya Swami in your story, telling the story within yourself? We began by saying that that particular video was shown by Dattatreya Swami. Then we immediately forget. Then we say, I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. Whereas the source of our ego and the source of all the thoughts we get and every jiva gets is Dattatreya Swami. That means Dattatreya Swami thought should be there as the source of everything, as the Adhara. But then do we do dhyana like that? We just say that we are meditators, we are holding Bhagwan. But then we quickly forget. We lapse into doership. That's why Bhagavan says, have this direct path, that whatever object you see, ask for whom is this thought, for whom is this object. The answer will come for me. Directly still the eye. You simulate the pure eye. The pure eye is without any upadhis. You simulate the pure eye by stilling your eye. Keep simulating till all the vasanas are gone and the pure eye has to stand revealed by itself. In that pure eye, there is no subject object division, there is no multiplicity of self, there is no need even to say this pure eye is present within all. This pure eye alone is. And that is where we are going with Bhava Bhala for the next 15 minutes in practice. Ujjwalji, you can set the time for us. Thank you.
नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय।
Namo Ramana. I request Venkatesh Deshpande ji to give us the summing up remark. Yeah, I thought so much. Venkatesh ji is away. Rishikesh, may I request Dileep Simha ji to give us the summing up remarks. Namo Ramana, sir.
Namo Ramana, sir. Very aptly, the name divisions is not there. Bhagavan is saying it beautifully. In these two beautiful verses, we were blessed for the evening. Nandakumarji is the pure I alone is sums up the essence of these two verses. The pure I, the pure self, the God alone is, whatever which way, Brahman alone is. If we can understand and if we can stay with it, the journey begins and ends there. Bhagavan also says that being the self is seeing the self. So when the self alone is, that alone is being experienced, that alone is being is oneself. So the journey begins and ends there, at the home. Now, if we get into the job of explaining it, which is when we try to explain this verse, then as this verse say, we slip into a sense of divide, even if we try to explain it for somebody else or try to explain it for ourselves. Have I understood Brahman correctly? Even if I try to explain it for myself, in either which way, as these verses are saying, we will slip into the sport of the Maya. We will slip into the division of the subject and object. And in the sense, we divide the undivided into something for the convenience of explanation for oneself or for others. So that is when we can see how Bhagavan and Dakshinamurti, being completely in Mauna, was giving it to themselves, and if at all, if we say there are others, the truth, the highest truth itself, being that they were giving that alone. And when we understand at this depth that any type, any kind of explanation for oneself or for the other, even mentally or in a very objective way, as a subject object, if we try to explain, we have divided the undividable in a sense of imagination, which is what the first verse says. By imagining, we have divided, though it cannot be divided. So, this is the true essence of these two verses, that it is saying that Brahman alone is, self alone is. There is no need to even say, I am God in any which way. That alone is being experienced here and now. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya.
Namo Ramana, sir. Thank you so much. May I request Vaibhav ji and Pratnama to take us through the chanting of Sri Ramana Stotram. Namo Ramana.
नमो रमण भारद्वाज विश्वनाथ विरचितं श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तर शतनामावलिः अपार सच्चित् सुखवारिराशे यस्योर्मि मात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि ॐ महासेन महोंसेन जाताय नमः ॐ श्रीरमणाय नमः ॐ गुरवे नमः ॐ अखण्डसंविदाकाराय नमः ॐ महोजसे नमः ॐ कारणोद्भवाय नमः ॐ जगद्धितावताराय नमः ॐ श्रीभूमिनाथस्थलोस्थिताय नमः ॐ पराशरकुलोत्तंसाय नमः ॐ सुन्दरार्यतपःफलाय नमः ॐ कमनीयसुचारित्राय नमः ॐ सहायाम्बा सहायवते नमः ॐ शोणाचलमहोलीनमानसाय नमः ॐ स्वर्णहस्तकाय नमः ॐ हन्तमहास्थळे लब्धविद्योदयाय नमः ॐ शक्तिनिपातेन प्रबुद्धाय नमः ॐ परमार्थविधे नमः ॐ तीव्राय नमः ॐ पितृपदान्वेषिणे नमः ॐ इन्दुमौलिना पितृमते नमः ॐ पितुरादेशतः शोणशैलं प्राप्ताय नमः ॐ तपोमयाय नमः ॐ उदासीनाय नमः ॐ महायोगिने नमः ॐ महोत्साहाय नमः ॐ कुशाग्रदिये नमः ॐ शान्तसङ्कल्पसंरम्भाय नमः ॐ सुसन्दृशे नमः ॐ सवित्रे नमः ॐ स्थिराय नमः ॐ तपक्षपितसर्वाङ्गाय नमः ॐ फुल्लाम्बुजविलोचनाय नमः ॐ चन्द्रिकासितहासश्रीमण्डिताननमण्डलाय नमः ॐ चूतवाट्यां समासीनाय नमः ॐ चूर्णिताखिलविभ्रमाय नमः ॐ वेदवेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञाय नमः ॐ चिन्मुद्रिणे नमः ॐ त्रिगुणातिगाय नमः ॐ विरूपाक्षगुहावासाय नमः ॐ विराजितचलाकृतये नमः ॐ उद्दीप्तनयनाय नमः ॐ पूर्णाय नमः ॐ रचिताचलताण्डवाय नमः ॐ गम्भीराय नमः ॐ परमाचार्याय नमः ॐ सुप्रसन्नाय नमः ॐ अभयप्रदाय नमः ॐ दक्षिणास्यनिभाय नमः ॐ धीराय नमः ॐ दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः ॐ स्वराजे नमः ॐ महर्षये नमः ॐ भगवते नमः ॐ ईड्याय नमः ॐ भूमविद्याविशारदाय नमः ॐ विमलाय नमः ॐ दीर्घदर्शिने नमः ॐ आप्ताय नमः ॐ ऋजुमार्गप्रदर्शकाय नमः ॐ समदृशे नमः ॐ सत्यदृशे नमः ॐ सत्याय नमः ॐ प्रशान्ताय नमः ॐ अमितविक्रमाय नमः ॐ सुकुमाराय नमः ॐ सदानन्दाय नमः ॐ मृदुभाषिणे नमः ॐ दयार्णवाय नमः ॐ श्रीशोणाचलरिद्बोधस्कन्दाश्रमनिकेतनाय नमः ॐ सद्दर्शनोपदेश्रे नमः ॐ सद्भक्तवृन्दपरिवृताय नमः ॐ गणेशमुनिभृङ्गेन सेविताङ्घ्रिसरोरुहाय नमः ॐ गीतोपदेशसारादिग्रन्थसञ्चिन्नसंशयाय नमः। ॐ वर्णाश्रममतातीताय नमः। ॐ रसज्ञाय नमः। ॐ सौम्याय नमः। ॐ आत्मवते नमः। ॐ सर्वावनिमतस्थानामाराध्याय नमः। ॐ सर्वसद्गुणिने नमः। ॐ आप्तारामाय नमः। ॐ महाभागाय नमः। ॐ मातृमुक्तिविधायकाय नमः। ॐ विनताय नमः। ॐ विनुताय नमः। ॐ विप्राय नमः। ॐ मुनीन्द्राय नमः। ॐ पावकोज्ज्वलाय नमः। ॐ दर्शनादगसंहारिणे नमः। ॐ मौनेन स्वात्मबोधकाय नमः। ॐ ऋक्षान्तिकरसान्निध्याय नमः। ॐ स्मरणाद्बन्धमोचकाय नमः। ॐ अन्तस्तिमिरचण्डांशवे नमः। ॐ संसारार्णवतारकाय नमः। ॐ श्रीनाथद्विषस्तुतिद्रष्टे नमः। ॐ हार्दविद्याप्रकाशकाय नमः। ॐ अभिच्युतनिशप्रज्ञाय नमः। ॐ नैसर्गिकमहातपसे नमः। ॐ कमण्डलुधराय नमः। ॐ शुभ्रकौपीनवसनाय नमः। ॐ गुहाय नमः। ॐ पाणये नमः। ॐ कृपापूर्णाय नमः। ॐ भवरोगविषग्वराय नमः। ॐ स्कन्दाय नमः। ॐ देवतमाय नमः। ॐ अमर्त्याय नमः। ॐ सेनान्ये नमः। ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः। ॐ श्रीरमण भगवते नमः। श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तरशतनाम पूजां समर्पयामि। यस्थानोररुणाचलस्य पदयोः स्मृत्या जनिं प्राप्यत दिव्यानुग्रहसुप्रवाह विवश तादात्म्यभावं गतः हृन्निष्ठस्वगभीरनित्यतपसा लोकान् पुनासेकराट् तस्मै श्रीरमणाय ते नम इदं लोकोत्तरज्योतिषे। ॐ नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय।
Namo Ramana. That was wonderfully beautiful, steady chanting. Thank you so much.
Thank
Child
you.
has
Namo
taught us
Ramana.
that Namo Ramana, that the pure eye cannot have a sankalpa about anything, that I will not enter this area, that area, it cannot say. But that how quickly it naturally it recovers into the pure eye. How beautifully Pratnama has chanted for us, that she was so steady and so composed that we cannot have a sankalpa, that we will not slip into duality. But then how naturally, because that sankalpa itself will be in duality, how naturally and effortlessly the pure eye is abided in, is the beauty of it all. She has chanted so wonderfully for all of us. Namo Ramana. Namo Ramana to all. Namo Ramana Dileep ji. Namo Ramana Ulchal ji.
Namo